love America. I'm a veteran.
Back in March, people came through with razor blades and cut up a bunch of Kerry's flags.
But now those flags hang high, with plenty of people making sure they stay that way.
I want my husband back. I want my husband back.
People have been showing up on the sidewalk for days, bringing flowers and holding signs with the hopes that Kerry would make it through.
America, on Wednesday afternoon, May 20th, a 69-year-old United States Army veteran named Kerry Sheron walked outside of his home in Escondido, California. That home, covered in American flags, Trump banners, and patriotic signs that the neighbors could see from down the block, had already been vandalized 11 weeks earlier. Kerry filmed that vandalism himself. He put up new flags the same day. Minutes after he stepped outside on May 20th, a 32-year-old man who lived a few blocks away approached him. According to the deputy district attorney, Kerry was hit once in the jaw, fell to the ground, then he was hit multiple times in the head. A utility worker who tried to stop it was also injured. Police tracked the suspect down within minutes. Kerry Sheron never recovered. Sunday night, May 24th, he died at the hospital. And I'm going to give you the full picture, including the part that the rest of the coverage actually doesn't want to tell you, because the truth of who attacked Kerry Sheron is a little bit more complicated, more sad, and more important than that, a clean political story. But first, there is something Kerry's widow, Maria, said on camera in the worst week of her life, and I want every single person watching this video to hear. I'm not going to give it to you just yet, because you need to understand everything that this woman has lived through before you hear what she has to say. What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. The verified facts first. The story deserves accuracy before any type of emotion. Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, around 2:15 in the afternoon, East Mission Avenue in Escondido, California. Kerry Sheron, 69 years old, U.S. Army veteran, was outside near his home. The house his neighbors have dubbed the Trump House. For years, American flags, military banners, Trump signs covering the fence and the front of the property. Watch what the deputy DA says about the attack itself.
It was a single punch to the jaw. The victim then falls to the floor, and there are subsequent hits to the victim's head area.
The judge ordered us to hide Butler's face. Deputy District Attorney Ross Garcia says Butler faces 15 years in prison if convicted.
All right, not guilty plea is entered.
While Butler pled not guilty, he won't be able to bail out for now.
So bail is going to remain at no bail.
Garcia couldn't say what led to the attack. He could only say Mr. Sheron is in critical condition. Garcia doesn't know much about the defendant.
It's unclear at this moment if they knew each other. It did seem, and what I can say is that it was an unprovoked attack, certainly.
He walked outside of his own home, and a man approached him and put him on the ground. The suspect, Thomas Caleb Butler, 32 years old, lives blocks away, apparently. Police found him about a half a mile from the scene within minutes of the situation, charged with 4 counts: attempted murder, elderly abuse, criminal threats, and battery. He stood in front of court on Saturday and pled not guilty. He's being held without bond. Charges may be upgraded after Kerry's death. That is the decision that the San Diego County District Attorney's Office is actively reviewing at the moment. Now watch what the surveillance footage from across the street shows, and most importantly, what it doesn't show.
This video obtained by NBC7 seems to show, and investigators allege, 32-year-old Thomas Caleb Butler Wednesday punched Sheron to the ground and twice kicked him in the head. He then went after a bystander who arrived too late to prevent the attack. In another video recorded before first responders arrived, Sheron appears to be breathing but could not talk.
What the camera captured supports what the DA said earlier, unprovoked. What it doesn't capture is Thomas Butler's state of mind when he actually crossed the street. That is the question that the investigation hasn't answered yet. A lot of the coverage is going to reduce Kerry Sheron to a political symbol. He was not a symbol. He was a man. Listen carefully to what his neighbor, Jim Gilley, says, and specifically the last sentence here, you guys.
Kerry was a Trump supporter, but he was a patriot first. And he was a strong believer in freedom of speech. And when people would approach him and give him any guff over his opinions, he didn't let it get under his skin. He would just say they're entitled to their free speech just like I am.
And what he described here wasn't a man looking for fights and starting ruckus. He described somebody who believed so deeply in the right to express yourself, even when people got in his face about it. And he said Kerry couldn't be rattled by it. Kerry used to sit outside of his home with a sign asking drivers to honk. They honked. He smiled. He waved. His neighbor, Gianni, told CBS 8 the exact same thing. That was the man, you guys, who walked outside of his house on May 20th. And here's something that absolutely nobody is covering about this. In 1998, you guys, a San Diego news crew filmed Kerry Sheron baking cookies for the U.S. military troops serving overseas in the Persian Gulf. That footage was found in a news archive. When Maria was shown it this week while her husband was still in the ICU, she looked at it and she said, "I want to remember him that way." And that she wanted healing for everybody, not vengeance here, healing. That is not the grief of the weak talk in here. That is who these people are. Now watch Kerry's own voice, his own camera, his own words about why this mattered to him.
We did some repair work today after some decided that they hate the world and ripped my banners, all their We found flags, big ones, 200 feet down the road, flags all over in the middle of the road. We put new banners up right away. All new stuff. We love America. I'm a veteran.
11 weeks before the attack, somebody came through and destroyed those flags, ripped the Marine Corps banner, shredded the Trump banners, left American flags torn in half in the middle of the road. He didn't call the police to escalate it. He didn't demand action about the situation. He put the flags back up and kept going. Because that was this guy. That 11-week gap, March to May 20th. This is the timeline the investigation is now examining very closely. Maria told NBC7 that they had experienced harassment and threats before, but nothing ever turned violent. The pattern here from vandalism to fatal attack was there for anybody that was actually paying attention. Multiple outlets this week called Thomas Butler a deranged leftist, a Democrat, a woke attacker. And Thomas Butler is 32 years old. He is a Navy veteran. His family says he had severe PTSD from service. First off, that doesn't excuse you from beating up people to death on the street. If you got PTSD, you got to get some help.
While Garcia said the motive remains under investigation, Sheron's wife of 20 years believes that their yard display played a role.
Maria believes it was political. Her belief obviously deserves respect, and it deserves to be heard. And the DA, whose job is to prove what actually happened in the courtroom, has not charged anybody with a hate crime, has not confirmed political motivation. Butler reportedly had severe PTSD. Again, it doesn't give you the excuse to go walking around beating up people, okay? Currently, I don't know his military background and what he experienced, but I know people with severe PTSD, and living civilian life ain't right for them, okay? A source close to him reported to the California Post said that Butler would sit in his room and he thought that everybody was going to come to get him. The motive currently it's all under investigation. And I'm going to tell you exactly what the receipts say when the receipts come out. And the receipts that we got say that the 69-year-old Army veteran died on his own front lawn. The motive in question obviously has not been answered yet. What is not in question here at all is an 11-week documented pattern of escalating hostility that ended with a fatal attack. Now, here's the part that nobody in the mainstream media is connecting, and I was holding it until now because I need to explain the full context before I give you this. March 2026 to May 20th, 2026, 11 weeks. In March, somebody came through and destroyed all of Kerry's flags. He filmed it. He posted it publicly. It went viral on his community. He showed the American flag ripped up in half, the Marine Corps banner tore down, the Trump banners shredded and left on the street. That video went on his Facebook page and was seen by his community. Watch how Kerry himself describes what he found.
Somebody decided that our stuff was not good. Look at this. Incredible. And the Marine banner, they ripped that. Ripped down on American flags. Oh, unpatriotic. Incredible.
Between March and May 20th, the threats continued. Maria described to NBC7 that the couple had experienced ongoing harassment over their displays in their own front lawn. I just want to preface that. People would drive by and shout things. Before this video goes live, I want to note that in a Spanish language interview, Maria described a man stopping and threatening them on their property. That threat, you guys, came before May 20th. The fatal attack came after. The question that this case now raises, and it's not a partisan question, it is a law enforcement question, is at what point of a documented pattern of property destruction followed by documented threats should it trigger a proactive law enforcement response before somebody ends up in the hospital or somebody ends up dead? The FBI is now involved. Escondido police are now investigating. The referral went up, but the intervention came after the funeral here. And I got to say this, you guys, I'm absolutely sick and tired of this political violence bullcrap. Just because we have different opinions, different political viewpoints, doesn't mean that we can't get along as people. Just because you like hot dogs and I like pizza, just because I like pizza doesn't mean that you can come and shoot me and beat me up, and vice versa. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy to me. Political violence at this capacity, displaying your patriotism in your own yard, in your neighborhood. You get killed for it. However this is going to lean. Vista Mayor John Franklin, a Republican, went on camera and called the leaders on both sides to denounce what he called apparent political violence. He didn't wait to confirm which party Thomas Butler, quote unquote, belonged to. He saw a 69-year-old veteran dead after an attack on his lawn and called it what it looked like.
It's an absolute tragedy. I mean, this is one of our neighbors here in North County, somebody who was peacefully displaying signs.
No party, no political framing. A man was peacefully displaying signs in his own property, in his own front yard. He's dead. Whether the courts ultimately determined this was political violence, PTSD-driven violence, or something completely else, the starting fact here, you guys, does not change. Kerry Sheron was on his own front lawn exercising his constitutional right. And that, my friends, is where the story begins and where the story ends. The Friday before Kerry passed, while he was in the ICU, roughly 100 people gathered outside the Trump house. They had no instructions, no prefabricated signs, no formal organization set, no memo sent out via email and text message. They just showed up. They showed up to support this guy. Watch why Christine Brown drove an hour to stand outside a stranger's house.
Cowards like this do not belong to our society.
Christine Brown lives in La Mesa. She has no particular connection to this case, but was compelled to participate.
He's a veteran. We need to come and support our veterans. We need to come and support our patriots.
It's just sad that we can't live in more unity.
Jeff Pitt organized the rally. He lives nearby, and after hearing what happened, invited a few friends to join him.
I'm blown away. It just makes my heart happy.
Flowers, balloons, American flags, people that never met Kerry Sheron standing outside the street because they understood what they actually lost.
His wife hasn't been able to eat. She hasn't been able to sleep. But the community has brought tamales and enchiladas and pizzas and all kinds of things. So she just wanted to make sure everybody in the community gets a thank you for all the support.
Not everybody who walked up to that house held the same political beliefs or views as Kerry and what Kerry flew on his fence. Some of them probably never agreed with a single banner that he ever displayed. They showed up anyways. They showed up because he was their neighbor, because his wife needed food, because this is what you do when people need support, because what happened to him, however this unfolds, was absolutely wrong. And because on a street in Escondido, named after a president, a veteran died exercising the exact right his service was supposed to be protecting. Now, I want to give you what I said I would at the beginning of this video. Her husband is gone. He was beaten on his own lawn by a man the investigation is still working to understand. She watched him in the ICU for 5 days. She had 3 days to decide whether to take him off life support. A decision she told NBC7 was the hardest thing that she had ever faced. He passed on his own Sunday night without that decision ever being forced. And my friends, when the cameras turned on Mary Sheron,
I feeling bad for the mother, you know, for the guy do that, because for him too, because I ruined his life. Have a kid, have a girlfriend, have a mom. I'm feeling bad for her, but the stuff he do with my husband is terrible.
She's grieving the man that she was married to for 20 years. She watched him in the hospital bed for 5 days. And her first public statement is that she feels sorry for his mother. Trust me, you guys, I've covered a lot of stories on this channel. I've not seen a widow do that. I haven't seen somebody do that. Not like that. Not the same week as the funeral. This isn't performative. It's not performative for the cameras. There's no fireworks here. No sparkly suit. This is a person whose faith is bigger than her grief and bigger than her anger. And it tells you something on who Kerry Sheron raised those flags for. He didn't raise them to start fights and to start conflicts. He raised them because he loved his country. He flew a Marine Corps banner because he served. He flew the American flag because, in his own words, we love America. I'm a veteran. That is the sum total of his public statement. And his widow, in the worst week of her life, chose to pray for the family of the man who killed him. Both of those people were real. Both of those statements are true. And together, they create the most important thing that happened in Escondido last week. My honest version, a 69-year-old Army veteran was a victim of an 11-week documented pattern of hostility, starting with property destruction, escalating threats, ending in a fatal attack. Whether the attacker was politically motivated, PTS-driven, or maybe a little mix of something both, or something else that the investigation still has to review. What is not open for review is the outcome. Listen to what Maria said from the very beginning before any of this turned fatal.
Maria says it's this love of President Trump that may have led to her 69-year-old husband being brutally attacked Wednesday.
I love this.
She says they're threatened all the time. People don't like their home, but it never turned violent until Wednesday.
They knew that there was hostility. They kept flying the flags because they believed correctly under the First Amendment that they had the absolute right to do so. Kerry Sheron was not breaking a single law here. He was exercising the same rights his service was supposed to protect. And the question this country needs to sit with, not as a partisan question, not as a Republican v. Democrat question, but as a simple American question. Has flying the American flag on your own property in some neighborhoods become something that requires personal courage? Sit with that. America, here's what the charge decision will settle that nobody is calculating right now. Thomas Caleb Butler was charged with attempted murder. Kerry Sheron is dead when the San Diego County DA formally upgrades those charges to murder, and the legal path to that upgrade runs through the medical examiner's cause of death determination, which is still pending. This case then becomes a murder trial, and a murder trial is the first time Thomas Butler will be asked under oath in an open court why he crossed the street on May 20th. The motive question here the entire country is currently debating in bad faith will have a formal answer. Either a trial produces it or a plea agreement silences it. One of those two things is absolutely coming. Maria Sheron says she thinks the flags were the reason. The DA says the motive is under investigation. Butler's own friend said that he liked the Trump house and supported President Trump. All of those three things, Shaq, can be simultaneously true. And the trial, if there is one, will decide which one the law agrees with. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.